What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are you guys doing today? Welcome to another episode of Phenomenal Views. I, of course, am your host, Nick Smith, and it's time for another book review. And this book I've actually been wanting to get my hands on for a long time, and I finally finished it. And it is a book that inspired the hit motion picture by Richard Matheson, I Am Legend. If you can see the title there. On the cover it says, "Books like I Am Legend were an inspiration to me, Stephen King." I Am Legend is one of the New York bestsellers. I Am Legend is a really good book. Now, I'm just going to tell you right straightforward. This book I was really looking forward to this, and when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. It had great action moments, great hints, great drama, some really good character development, but at the same time, I was also disappointed. Now, before anyone starts hating me and be like, boo, and all that stuff, no. I didn't hate the book. What I didn't like was the fact that I Am Legend is not the whole book. And after I watched a couple reviews of I Am Legend, I heard that there was it was a bunch of stories, but I thought it was going to be the main story, but also it was going to be going back to like how the plague started or stuff that happened between Robert and his wife, which they do that. But I had no idea that I Am Legend was like the first book of I Am Legend. There's a bunch of other books that are in the book. Now, if you want me to do separate reviews on those little mini stories, I will be happy to do that. I can go back and read them again. I did not care for them that much because all I cared about was reading I Am Legend. All I cared about was reading this book. And then when I noticed that it was only 160 pages long, I was like, well, that's kind of disappointing. But I didn't really care about the other stories. All I cared about was the I Am Legend story. That's all I cared about. So if you guys want me to go back and do reviews on those other mini stories, I will gladly do this. Heck, I'll even make this like a series. I mean, this is already a series, but I'll do the I Am Legend series. So, now I'm going to get into spoilers with this book. So if you do not want to know anything that happens in this book, I suggest that you leave the video now, because I am going to be talking about spoilers in the book. So let's go ahead and get started. For those who left, I hope you liked the book. And for those who stayed, I'm glad you stayed. Okay, so I Am Legend is the book about a man named Robert Neville who lives in LA with his wife Virginia and their daughter. And in the book, he is just he's an average dad, but there is a plague going on and they have no idea what it is. It is a plague that turns people into vampires, and they come back from the dead, and this basically kind of inspired George Romero to create the zombies. And when I watched the movie Last Man on Earth, and I'm not gonna do a review of that yet, but they looked actually kind of how I pictured, and when I watched the movie, it was done really well. But anyways, so that's pretty much the gist of the book. Well, okay, Robert is the last man on Earth. He is the only one who has survived. He is the only one who has not been infected. He is suffering day by day, trying to make it as not only the only person on Earth, but the only living person, because everyone else in LA is a vampire who is trying to kill him. And so it's basically up to him to not lose his sanity and try to survive. That's basically the gist of the whole book. Now, I am going to go into some spoilers right now, so if you don't want to know anything about really that happens, you're going to want to go ahead and leave. And I know I've already said that, but okay. So, basically, what they did with these vampires is they're not all blood. They're not like your normal, oh, I must suck your blood, vampire, bleh. No, they're not like that. These vampires are actually done, they act like zombies. But the thing is, like vampires, they can only come out during the night, and they all go to Robert Neville. Now, this book goes into great detail about how Robert goes crazy every now and then, and how the lady vampires are trying to kill him or trick him into coming outside. They do a lot of things to try to get him outside, and he has his whole entire apartment vampire proof. He has garlic on the doors and the windows. He has his house boarded up. He's constantly making stakes to put through the vampires' hearts. He is battling these things and trying to wipe them all out and survive. But him being the last man on Earth is what drives him crazy, and you really feel for him, and especially like when it goes into him daydreaming about his wife, or when his wife... The thing was, when the plague was going around, if you were infected, you were to be burned. If you or your loved one died, you were to be taken up and burned. Robert didn't do that, because they did do that to his daughter, but he didn't want that to happen to his wife. So when she got sick and died, he took her to be buried. And this book hits you hard emotionally because it sucks when you have to bury the person that you love. But what would suck even worse is if the person that you loved came back to life from the dead and you had to do it again. And this book has a great thing with, you really feel like you're stuck there with him in this book. Every single page, you feel for Robert. You feel like you're there with him. It's especially sad when he finds the dog. Now, when he finds the dog doesn't come to him at first, and because he has been surviving, the dog has been running from the vampires and basically has been surviving. And when Robert finds this dog, it's a heartbreaking moment every single time, because he's trying constantly to get this dog to trust him. He has been attacked, he has been hunted, and Robert is trying to constantly get this dog, because this is the only thing that he's ever going to have close to a best friend. All his friends are dead and trying to kill him. This is the closest thing to a friend he has. And when he gets the dog, you feel, aww, but then the book kicks you and the dog dies. I was like, what? No, no, you can't do that. And what especially is when Robert starts to notice different things about the vampires, they actually go into, they do a lot of interesting stuff in this. Like, Robert wants to figure out what's causing the plague. So he actually has to go and teach himself about like blood and all the science stuff. He has to figure it out for himself. He has to teach himself science and all this stuff, and it's actually really interesting. And when he finds out stuff about the vampires, he finds out different ways to defeat them. He finds garlic, of course, stakes to the heart, crosses. Now, this book actually does something different, because each vampire is different. With the crosses, it just depends what their religion was, what their faith was, is if they're going to be depends on if they're going to be afraid of the crosses or mirrors. Each vampire is different. And when Robert finally comes across another person after burying the dog, he's trying so desperately to catch her, because if you were the last person on Earth and you seen somebody, wouldn't you go crazy too? And like, just the emotional things that happen in this book, they're so good. This book is it's good. It's a really good book. I strongly recommend you read it. It's very interesting. You will really like it. I did not like the ending. That's my only gripe, is I did not like the ending at all. Well, not at all. They could have done something else, but I just didn't like the ending. I didn't. But overall, guys, this book is a really good read. You will not be disappointed. I mean, some of the science stuff kind of made it drag a little bit, but other than that, it honestly wasn't bad. Now, when I found out that that it's not the whole entire book, I kind of did get disappointed, and so I was just trying to push through all the other stories, because I didn't care. All I cared about was the I Am Legend story. But overall, guys, I'm going to give I Am Legend a B+. It's a good read. Now, if you guys want me to go back and look through the other stories, I will gladly do that, because I wouldn't mind going back and reading them again. It's just when I found out that I Am Legend wasn't the entire book, I kind of got disappointed, and I didn't really care about those other stories. I was thinking that they were other chapters of the book. But now, there is a reason in I Am Legend why he is known as I Am Legend. And this is a big, big spoiler. The whole entire thing is the vampires are trying to kill him because they're terrified of him. So when he finds this woman named Ruth and he tests her blood, he finds out that she's infected. And there's another group of vampires that are basically they're the next human race. And he gets captured, even though Ruth, she was spying on him, and I think she was even going to try and kill him, but when he showed her love, and she actually did fall in love with him for a little bit. She felt sympathy for him, and so she wrote him a letter after she ran away and after she knocked him out. She knocked him out and left him a note saying, I was spying on you, but when I was hugging you, that was real. You're gonna need to run. If you leave by such and such, they will not find you when they get here. But if you don't, you won't make it out alive. And that's the whole entire thing, is he's legend because this whole entire species is afraid of him. And when he dies at the end of the book, I was like, oh, come on, you guys gotta do something better than that. I mean, it's sad, but I mean, like, it's a good book. It's just, I just thought they could have done something different. But, guys, like I said, if you want me to do those other books and other stories in the book, I will. Because some of them are interesting, and some of them, they weren't really my thing, but I will review them for you guys. Guys, put in the comments below, what did you think of I Am Legend? What is your favorite book by this guy? What's your favorite book by Richard Matheson? If that's how you spell his name, or pronounce his name. I really want to know. Guys, hit that subscribe button, and heck, hit that like button, and let's get this video some likes. Let's get this 10 or 20 likes. What do you say? And how about you guys share this video with your friends, your enemies' enemies, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and thank you for the people who watch this video. You guys make my videos popular. You guys are the ones that make my YouTube channel possible, not me. You guys really do, you guys have much more to do with this than I do. I thank you so much for the people who watch my videos and who send me advice and say, hey, maybe try doing this, such and such. I really appreciate it, and I thank you guys. Have a good day.